I just got into town, I admitted. Then, as if this would explain everything, I added, I'm from Ohio. If you don't mind my asking, what do you need to see Schwartz about? Connolly collapsed onto a wicker love seat, his head buried in his hands. I've got a problem because of my own big mouth. Politics, religion, and alcohol, they should never be mixed.
Failure to recognize Jesus disguised as a homeless person would be unthinkable for most devout Christians. However, a depiction of Jesus as a homeless man threatened to create controversy. Therefore, two prominent Catholic churches, St. Michael's Cathedral in Toronto and St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York, have rejected Timothy Schmaltz's sculpture of a slight figure shrouded by a blanket hauntingly similar to the real homeless who lie on grates and in doorways as Jesus. It's the gaping wounds in the feet that reveal the subject, whose face is draped and barely visible, as Jesus the Homeless. As the artist points out, homeless Jesus had no home. How ironic. While the rectors of St. Michael's and St. Patrick's were eager to accept the statue, the higher-ups in the New York and Toronto Archdiocese turned it down because, quote, it might be too controversial or vague and not an appropriate image. Although members of the Archdiocese administration thought Jesus the Homeless was inappropriate for St. Michael's Cathedral in downtown Toronto, they did suggest other locations in the Greater Toronto area. However, placing the sculpture in a suburban location would mean the statue would not reach the wide secular, religious, and marginalized audience for whom the statue is intended. Schmaltz's sculpture of Jesus as a homeless man and reclining on a bench can be seen at 100 Wellesley Street West in Toronto, outside the entrance to Regis College, a Jesuit school of theology where priests and laypeople are trained with an emphasis on social justice. The dean of Regis College told the Huffington Post, "The mission of our college is to promote critical theology with advocacy for justice and an appreciation of beauty. Regis College is an ideal place for Jesus the Homeless. Some administrator realized that he should practice what he preaches and heed the words of his God. Whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." Renowned concert pianist Fazil Say went on trial in October last year for a series of comments he made on Twitter that were deemed blasphemous by Turkish authorities. The charges could have put Say in prison for up to 18 months, but he only received a 10-month suspended sentence on April 15th. The lesser sentence came with one string attached. He must not be found guilty of the same crime for 5 years, or he will have to serve the full 18 months. The tweets that nearly landed Say in jail included lines of poetry and jokes about muezzin, which is the person who makes the Muslim call to prayer. Say's father, Ahmet Say, also ended up in jail for making critical remarks about the government back in the 1970s. Though a star in his home country, Fazil Say has openly opposed social policies of the conservative Islamic government in Turkey. Composer Taner Akyol said that Fazil Say is a very sensitive but also very brave human being. He's not easily intimidated and believes strongly in the separation of church and state. He's also a passionate advocate of human, civil, and minority rights. Now that he's been guilty of blasphemy, the 43-year-old composer says he may move to Japan once his sentence has been carried out.